The alien nurse kept staring at him. Then she said, "You're the perfect mate." The air inside the Galactic medbay always smelled of sterilized filters and chemical neutrality, yet never dulled the bite of nerves running down Private Reece Dalton's spine. He'd taken shrapnel in the shoulder 2 days ago during a raid on a rogue mining colony in Sector Delta 91. Routine cleanup, the brass had said. Turned out the colonists had repurposed mining bots into walking artillery. Reece had been lucky to duck in time, or at least half in time. Now he was seated on a narrow bed, shirtless, his arm encased in a regrowth brace that itched like 1,000 tiny ants tap dancing on raw nerves. What unsettled him most wasn't the injury. It was her, Nurse Aenya, the alien nurse. She was tall, almost a head above him, her frame lean and sinewy in a way that spoke of both discipline and grace. She had pale amethyst skin that shimmered subtly beneath the medbay's lights, and silvery markings traced along her neck and temples. Her eyes were a soft bioluminescent teal, watching, always watching. He'd seen other humans get patched up by her without incident. Yet, every time it was his turn, her gaze lingered a second too long. Her fingers brushed against his skin in ways that didn't feel accidental. He could swear she inhaled deeper when she leaned in. It was unnerving and intriguing. "Pain level?" she asked, voice melodic, with an almost wind chime lilt. "About a 4, he muttered. "Could be worse." She studied him for a moment longer than necessary. "Pain receptors show 6.3. Your tolerance threshold is higher than expected." "Human thing." He shrugged with his good arm. "We stub toes, break bones, and keep walking. Occupational hazard of being fragile but stubborn." She tilted her head slightly. "Fascinating. You adapt through defiance." He chuckled lightly. "We do a lot of things through defiance. Breathing, surviving, dating." Aenya blinked slowly, then turned to adjust the regrowth settings on the console. "You joke as a defense mechanism." He raised an eyebrow. "That also human." When she faced him again, her expression had shifted, no longer clinical, but curious. "Do human males always deflect attention through humor? Only when beautiful alien nurses keep staring at them like a puzzle they want to solve." That stopped her. Anya's glowing eyes locked onto his. Silence stretched, thick and electric, before she finally spoke. "I'm not staring," she said softly. "I am assessing compatibility." Reese's eyebrows rose. "Come again." Her gaze didn't waver. "Your genetic markers are unusually resilient. Emotional response patterns suggest adaptability under stress. And you maintain protective behavior toward your squad, despite severe trauma. That combination is optimal." He blinked. "Optimal for what?" A pause. "Breeding." Reece coughed. "I'm sorry, what?" She walked to a nearby terminal and tapped her fingers across its surface. Holographic strands of DNA spun in the air, highlighted with markers and overlays. "The Terralin Initiative, our long-term restoration project, requires integration of compatible species to stabilize declining immunogenetic diversity. You meet 12 of the 13 criteria for ideal cross-specimen compatibility. And the 13th?" She turned to him slowly, her voice just a whisper. "Willingness." He stood up, forgetting about his brace until it yanked his shoulder. "Okay, well, I signed up for peacekeeping patrols and maybe a few bar fights, not to become part of an intergalactic dating sim." Aenya stepped closer, too close, until her voice dropped into an intimate range. "You misunderstand. This is not courtship. It is survival. My people must adapt or perish." The clinical edge in her tone clashed with the softness in her gaze, and that's when it hit him. She wasn't just following a protocol. She meant it. The cool, composed healer had been studying him, not out of scientific curiosity, but desperation wrapped in discipline. "Why me?" he asked, quieter this time. She glanced away, then looked back. "Because you did not flinch when the pain came. Because you told your captain to save the child first. Because you carry sadness in your laugh. And because I wanted it to be you." His breath caught. The room felt smaller, warmer, charged with attention he hadn't signed up for but couldn't ignore. He sat again, slowly. "This is a lot. I know, and I'm still healing. I'm trained in more than just wounds," she said gently, kneeling in front of him. "I can ease the ache inside, too." A silence fell between them, broken only by the soft hum of medbay equipment. She reached up, touched his cheek with an impossibly gentle hand. Her skin was cool like moonlight, but her touch sparked like fire. "Reece," she said, his name soft and unfamiliar on her tongue. "I do not ask for binding or ceremony, just permission." He stared into her eyes, those strange, beautiful eyes that didn't blink like a human's but saw deeper than any gaze he'd known. He wasn't sure what startled him more, the fact that he was considering it, or that he didn't want to say no. "Okay," he said, voice hoarse, "but not like some experiment. Not because your people need me." She leaned in closer. "Then why?" "Because you see me, not just the soldier, not just the stats. Me." Her expression softened, and for the first time he saw it. An emotion that needed no translation. Gratitude. They didn't speak much after that. Words weren't necessary. That night, after the medbay lights dimmed and the hallways grew silent, Aenya returned. Not in uniform, not as a nurse, but as a woman searching for connection. Reece met her without hesitation. They lay together on the sterile cot, her fingers tracing the scars on his chest like starlines. He held her as if she might vanish with the dawn. There was no performance, no urgency, only two souls on the edge of loneliness, reaching across stars and DNA to find something that still made sense. In the early hours, she whispered stories of her world, how it once flourished with music, wind-blown fields of bioluminescent flowers, cities suspended in the sky. Disease, war, and time had taken so much. Now only fragments remained. "I wanted to be a healer," she said. "But sometimes what's broken cannot be healed, only transformed." He ran his hand through her hair. "Maybe it doesn't have to be fixed. Just help." She pressed her forehead to his. "You are strange, Reece Dalton, and you're not so bad for an alien nurse." They both laughed, quiet, unguarded. Weeks passed. Reece's wound healed, but he didn't request a transfer. Aenya didn't need to ask why. They worked side by side, him assisting with logistics and repairs, her continuing to run the med bay. Other human soldiers began to trust her more openly. Aenya no longer looked through them. She looked at them because she'd learned the human way wasn't about calculation, but connection. One night, after a brutal plasma storm ravaged the station's outer fields, Reece returned with burn marks and exhaustion in his bones. Aenya patched him up in silence, her hands trembling slightly. "I feared I would lose you," she said. "You won't," he promised. "But you are mortal, fragile." He took her hand and placed it over his heart. "So are you. Maybe not your body, but what's in here, that's vulnerable. You just hide it better." She leaned in and kissed him, a slow, lingering touch that tasted of salt and stardust. They didn't need grand vows or galactic broadcasts.